Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to see another neckline. And for this project I took a kurta material and a piping cord, and this is the for piping. I just made it ready, and you can see I just added a very thin cord to this, so you can see how thin it is. And if you want to know how to make this cord, that is the piping, just click on the link below or just click on the link which you see on the screen. And now let's get started. So for this project I just marked the neck length, that is the full length of the neck from the shoulder. It's going to be 8.5 inches. First I marked that 8.5 inches and I just drawn a square like this. Okay, like as you cut a square neck, just mark something like that. And now inside that square, might be a rectangle, whatever, so inside that I'm going to mark a 5 inches, 5 to 5.5 inches, and I'm just marking another line. So this is going to be 5.5 inches, and now I'm just marking a U in that. So this is going to be a combination of 3 kinds of patterns. First is the U, and next goes a V neckline at the bottom. That's going to connect to your U neckline. Okay, somewhat like this. And you're going to cut from here, it goes to the shoulder. Okay, so start from the shoulder and cut into the scoop neck or U neck, whatever you call, and you're going to deep inside that, and then you're going to cut out that V out. It's your wish, you can start with the V and you can end with a U. Okay, I'm just cutting this V out. And now when you open it, it looks something like this, where now you're going to make a slit at the point of the V. See, this measurement does depend upon you how length you need the piping to be. So for this project I'm just taking 9 inches. You can take more than 9, it will look really pretty, but I think 9 is enough for me, so I'm taking till 9, and just give a mark and you're going to cut into that. So press the center, and I'm going to just cut on the crease line what I made before, somewhat like this. And I'm going to attach the piping what I made before in that slit. Okay, now we are going to attach the piping to the slit, and I'll show you how to do that. And for now I'm going to attach the piping starting from the V and ending to the slit, and you're going to put a small mark where the V end, that is the V-shaped neckline end, so that you're going to make a turn, very small turn, and then you're going to go for a straight line for the slit. So now this is going to be the pretty side of the fabric. And coming back to piping, the cord is facing my hand, so the cord is upside and it is to my left hand side. So when I get to that mark, I'm just turning the fabric very little, that is the piping fabric, and I'm sewing together. And for this project I just added my foot, the zipper foot. So this goes like this, and when you get into the end point, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch more than what you cut into. So just sew 1/4 inch, and you can just cut that out, the excess piping, and you're going to do the same for the neck side. Okay, so when you come to the marking, just give a turn somewhat like this. See, it looks something like this after sewing. So now I'm turning the piping made fabric in. So you'll get a really neat edge where only the piping cord will visibly seen. So just put a top stitch over that. I'm turning only the piping fabric, so you're facing the pretty side of the fabric right now. You can apply this technique to any kind of neckline, whether it's been a U neckline or scoop neckline or a sweetheart neckline. So this is going to be the basic for all kind of neckline, that is applying the piping. So when you get into that point, just put a small, very small angled slit. It should be an angle, and you're going to turn the slit, turn in the piping in that. So don't cut a straight stitch. You're going to cut in an angle so that you can turn it easy. And do the same to the neck side of the neckline. So in this video I'm going to show you two methods of sewing with the piping. That is one with making a collar neckline, and I made up two to three videos related to collar neckline. So I'm just going to show you how to attach the piping with the collar neckline. So, and also it's going to be continued with another neckline too. So this is going to be the end result of attaching the piping to the neckline. And now I'm just marking the V again, so that you're going to attach a small piece of fabric under that slit area to join together. Piece of fabric, we took 9 inches, take 2 inch more and cut 11 inch of fabric and fold at the top, and I'm going to place the slit over the fabric what I have underneath, and I'm going to sew together. And this also I showed in the previous video, how to add a piece of fabric under the slit. So if you have any doubt, you can just go ahead and check my video. So when you get to the point, you just put a back stitch to make it firm. And now ease the fabric, don't pull the fabric, just ease the fabric. And now here comes, if you want, you can just close the slit area, or else you can just open the slit area a little bit. See, if you want, you can close like this, or you want, you can open it something like this. So for this project, I'm just going to open my slit a little bit, not too much. So I'm going to gradually open my slit, so you can see. And you can see I just made a small open, and it looked like this. Leaving this itself, it looked very pretty before attaching the collar. And now you're going to trim out the notches hanging out over here. And now for making the collar, you're going to attach the front and the back piece shoulder together. And now I'm not going to show you a much detailed video about the collar, making the collar, because I showed you before how to make a collar. So if you want to know how to make a collar neckline, just click on the link below so that it takes to a collar neck video. In that video I showed you a very clear demonstration of how to make a very typical collar neck. So in this video I'll show you how to attach the piping to the collar. I think that's very important. So now I'm attaching the collar to my neckline. So it goes all around the back neck and it comes and ends till the V point. Okay. And I'm finishing the collar by sewing it to the inside of the collar. So if you have any uneven edges, you're going to fold that in and you're going to sew neatly. And now I'm going to attach the piping to that. And what I did is I just placed the piping down and I kept the collar on top of the piping, and I'm just started sewing all around. You can see that. Make sure the cord is placed outside, that is, the cord should be seen visible. And again, I'm sewing to the wrong side of the fabric, so the piping is kept under the fabric and I placed the wrong side down and the upside, the pretty side, is facing me. So just give us a little bit of stretch and place the collar on top of the piping, and you can sew that together. See, I'm just placing the piping like this. Okay, and I'm going to sew at the margin. And when you get into the corners, this is a little bit a curved collar, so when you get to the corner, make sure you sew it in that curved shape by just pulling a little bit of the fabric. Okay, just pull the collar a little bit and just turn the collar and you will get the exact curved shape. Okay, when I get to the end, I just cut a 1/4 inch more than the usual size to fold that in. I don't want the raw edge to be visibly seen, so you can just fold a 1/4 inch in the collar. So I'm just finished. So you can see how pretty the collar is, and it came out really well. And this is how it looks. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this collar again, and I'm going to do the second version of the neckline. So I just removed the collar and I just took my cross piece, and this is a cross piece, and I'm going to make a bias tape out of this. So I think you know, if you're regular to my channel, I think you know how to make a bias tape, or else no, don't worry, I just given a link on the description box. Also the link is on the page. You can just click on that and you can learn how to make a bias tape. So first, to make a bias tape, so the width of the bias tape should be a maximum of 3 to 4 inches. And now I'm just going to place the bias tape on the V. Okay, this is the V point, and I'm going to place it on the V. So that is the pretty side of the fabric, and I'm going to place the cross piece on the pretty side of the fabric, and I'm going to put a small stitch all around the neckline. I'm sorry, it's not a pretty side, it's the wrong side of the fabric. So place the bias tape on the wrong side of the fabric and sew all around. So I completely unpegged the collar neck to show you another variety of neckline. So after unpicking the collar neck, I prepared a bias tape, and I'm just attaching the bias tape to the kurta neckline, somewhat like this. And why I took bias tape is because this is a U-neck, so if you cut in a bias tape, you'll have a massive amount of stretch, so that it goes exactly to the shape of your neckline. So just cut a 1/4 inch more than what you need and fold that in, and you can put stitch together. And once it's sewn, it looks like this. So what you're seeing is the back side of the fabric, and I'm going to put a top stitch on the bias tape, just on the margin of the bias, so that it makes the turn of the fabric to be easy. So just pull the bias tape and just sew on the exact margin on the bias tape, not on the neckline. It should be on the margin of the bias tape. So when you sew on the margin of the bias tape, it can turn very easy. You don't want to press, or you don't want to make anything. Just like that, it turns on its own. So just sew on the margin of the bias tape. And now see, it looks like this. So this is the pretty side of the fabric, and now I'm just folding it one, and I'm just going to close it on the fabric like this. I think you understand. Just fold it once and fold it on top of the pretty side of the fabric. By the way, you're closing like you're closing the raw edge of the neckline. So you're going to sew all around in the same manner by double folding the fabric. And now it is end. So what I'm doing right now is I'm double folding the straight piece of same color fabric what the piping fabric is just I'm double folding it, you can see that, and I'm putting a basting stitch on top of the fabric to make it firm and to give a shape to the fabric that is the exact size. So I'm just making like a tape. So I'm sewing the biggest stitch in my machine so that I can remove this afterwards. So you're going to do like that. If you don't want to sew like this, you can just fold it, double fold it, and you can just press with the iron. And now I'm going to wrap this tape all around my neckline. See, double fold it and place it, and you're going to sew on top. Something like this. So if you don't want to sew, you can just double fold it and you can press together. That will be firm. But for time's sake, I used to do like this. I put a basting stitch, and after one sewing done, I just remove it. So I'm going to sew all around the neckline. So when you make something like this, you have to be very careful with the curve of the neckline. If you're not giving the exact curve to the neckline, it stands something really odd. So make sure you turn the fabric, you turn the lace, everything should be done. So you're going to put a 2 stitch, 1 stitch at the down and the second stitch at the top of the lace. See, now I finished sewing the down side of the lace, and I'm just starting with the top side of the lace, something like this, and you're going to sew all around the neckline. Okay, once you're done with the neckline, you're just going to unpick the thread what you have sewn before. See, I'm just unpicking the thread. Just always put a basting stitch in a contrasting thread so that it will be easy for you to unpick the thread once the project is done. Here, this is going to be the end result of the neckline, and I showed you how to make the piping to your collar neck, as I did more than 3 to 4 videos on making of the collar neck, so I don't want to repeat the same idea over here. So I just chained the neckline to this, and for this case I just closed the piping over here, and that also looks great. And I gave you 2 ideas of making the neckline, and I think you love it. And if you like this video, just click on the thumbs up button below, and please do share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe my channel so that you don't miss any of my future video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.